Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sean Atkins, Chair of the East Point Planning and Zoning Commission. At this time, I will call our regularly scheduled September meeting to order. Staff, would you please sound roll call to establish a quorum?
Commissioner Lovett? Commissioner Bell? Here. Commissioner Miller? Here. Commissioner Atkins?
Present.
Commissioner Fan? Commissioner Tucker? Here. Commissioner McKnight? Here. Commissioner Maxwell? Here. And Commissioner Mitchell?
Present.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, we observe a moment of silence, so if you would please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. If you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, Commissioners, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening's meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by Commissioner Millen, that we adopt our agenda as printed. All in favor sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The agenda is adopted. Commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion to approve our June 20th, 2019 meeting minutes, as well as our August 15, 2019 meeting minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Maxwell and seconded by Commissioner Mitchell that we approve our June 20, 2019 meeting minutes, as well as our August 15, 2019 meeting minutes. All in favor sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Our June and August meeting minutes are approved. We'll now move on to new business. We've got 4 cases this evening for new business. Staff, would you please sound the first agenda item?
Yes, Commissioner. The applicant Outfront Media, LLC, is seeking a 5-part variance to allow for a dynamic digital billboard and are requesting relief from the following: Section 10-7017E1, Section 10-7017F1B, Section 10-7017F1C, Section 10-7017F1E, and Section 10-7017F1F.
Thank you. This agenda item, as well as the other 3 on our agenda this evening, do require public hearings. At this time, I'll read our rules for public hearings that will apply to all of the agenda items. Public hearings before the Planning and Zoning Commission shall be conducted in accordance to Section 10-2219 of the East Point Zoning Code and Development Regulations as follows. Persons both favoring and opposing the proposed case will be provided an opportunity to address the Commission. The applicant for the zoning case or the applicant's designated representative, if any, will be entitled to speak first, followed by other speakers in favor of the proposal for a total of 15 minutes. Those who oppose the proposed zoning case will then be permitted to speak for a total of 15 minutes. By majority vote, the Commission may increase the total time for speakers, provided that each side is given the same amount of time. If there is more than one speaker for a side, the chair or the presiding officer may limit the allotted time to each individual speaker other than the zoning applicant. The zoning applicant may reserve a portion of his or her allotted time for rebuttal. Speakers must adhere to the rules of decorum. Prior to speaking, each speaker shall state his or her first name and his or her current address. Each speaker shall speak only to the merits of the proposed zoning decision under consideration, shall address all remarks to the Commission, and shall refrain from making personal attacks on any other speaker. The presiding officer may refuse a speaker the right to continue if, after first being cautioned, the speaker continues to violate the rules of decorum. You've heard our rules for public hearing. Commissioners, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing for case number 2019 V as in Victor -013-07. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Milner, second by Commissioner Lovett, that we open the public hearing for 2019 V as in Victor -013-07. All in favor sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now open. Do we have the applicant present this evening? Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
that's great. Say yes. And would you state your first and last name and your current address?
Yes, Scott Peters, professional address is 1100 Peachtree Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30309.
Okay, Mr. Peters, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Scott Peters. I'm an attorney representing Outfront Media. With me this evening is Ms. Susan Fromm with Outfront and my associate, Ms. Sarah Smith. This is a request to convert the sign you see to a dynamic digital billboard. As part of that request, the sign will need to be rebuilt. And so the variances we have requested are all the existing conditions on the property. We are not increasing the height, we're not increasing the size, we're not moving the sign. They all duplicate the existing conditions that are on the site. So none of those are any change. We're doing the exact same thing coming back. The request, again, is to convert to a dynamic digital billboard. The southern face, which is the one that is shown in the picture there, faces towards 285 Washington, the on-ramp to Washington Road, does not face towards any residential, cannot be seen from there, and will not cast any light there. And that is the one that staff has recommended approval for, subject to the conditions that are in your package. If you, and we have some suggested alternative conditions for, which I'm happy to pass out.
Give them to staff, and staff will hand them to the commission.
And for the approval, if the planning commission only approves the one face, there's really no change in what we're saying. They're just slightly reworded. And the main item, the one item that staff has raised an issue regarding was the fall zone. So this sign is 85 feet in height. The fall zone under your ordinance is 133% of that. So the fall zone itself reaches across the property line, but it does not reach to the townhomes themselves. The other aspect I would point out to you is I have never in the state of Georgia seen a billboard fall over like a tree. These foundations are in clay. I haven't even seen it. You know, if there is a hurricane, tornado, what have you, the only thing we have ever seen is the head itself, the faces may be damaged, and they're usually hanging from the pole. So the fact, you know, that is a worst case scenario, and as we rebuild this under the current International Building Code, the sign is going to be stronger. What we have proposed to address the fall zone concern is item number 4 and what we pointed out in what I just handed out, which is the reconstructed sign shall be designed and built by applicant based upon a weight and wind load of 10% over the actual weight and wind load. So what the engineers will do is they calculate the weight of the sign that goes into the design foundation. They also calculate the wind load that hits the faces of the sign based upon you have these two 14 by 48 faces in the air. Obviously, wind hits those. They increase that by 10%, and that is how we would design the sign. So we would request that you approve that with that condition, and then we think that more than addresses any potential issue that exists. The other thing I would point out to you is this property is sloped from the townhomes down away towards the on-ramp from Washington Road. So in the event anything were to happen, that is the way the sign is going to fall. It would not fall uphill. Again, in that complete unlikely scenario where that could occur. The second set of conditions that we've recommended that on the second page is if this commission would approve the upgrade of both faces to a dynamic digital billboard. There are two things we would do there. Number one is we would remove some additional signage within the city. So your ordinance requires that for each dynamic digital billboard that's put in place, one has to be removed. What we have done in our proposal is actually doubling the amount that would be required. So each sign face, or more than doubling, each sign face is 672 square feet. Even though your ordinance does not require a square foot by square foot, technically we could remove a smaller size and it would count. Obviously that's not, I think, what your intent is. And so what we have proposed is For the single face that staff is recommending, we'd actually remove 1,600 square feet of signage, almost triple. If we did the second face, we would remove another 1,500 square feet of signage from around the city, and the locations are depicted in the materials we've given you. The second aspect is, and this is the package that's in front of you, if you would flip to tab 2 of the package with the blue sheets. The lighting of these signs, a dynamic digital billboard, obviously it's a large screen, and the light is projected from the screen itself outwards. The current condition is there is light that's shines onto the billboard so it can be seen. That still casts light out, and the dynamic digital billboards are actually designed to adjust based upon ambient light, so as it gets darker, the sign dims. Which obviously these signs, the halogen lights that shine on it, do not do that. The standard in the industry, and is I believe contained in the ordinance, is the light differential as measured at 250 feet is 0.3 foot candles over ambient. So I know that doesn't make too much sense, but basically at 250 feet away, the only difference in the light you see is less than 1 foot candle, which is the amount of light that is shown from the candle at 1 foot. So you're cutting a third of that. That's the difference. So these things are designed to minimize that impact. The first sheet behind tab 2, you'll see it's basically a light dispersion map. And you'll see as the sign is currently configured, the southern face you'll see is shown in red there, how it is currently configured, and that shines obviously away from any residential. The northern face, which faces towards the townhomes, right now is orientated how you see the red on that map. What we would suggest is, if you allow us to do this, require that sign be, the V in the sign, the angle of the sign be changed to point where the yellow is. And if you look at that, you will see that the dispersion pattern barely catches the one end unit of the townhomes. And the other thing I would point out to you is, if that's a 2D model, obviously, of that light dispersion, if you go to the third page of the handout we have, you also see that the same applies vertically. So we're going off on two different axes to minimize the light impact. We would suggest to you that the light impact on those townhomes would be negligible, and would probably be less than the light that is cast on them right now from the reflection of the halogen lights. So we are happy to, our preference would obviously be approved for both of those faces. We are more than happy to just do the single face, if that is the Planning Commission's desire. And I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Are there any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning case? Any other proponents? Any other proponents here to speak in favor of the zoning case? Are there any opponents here to speak against the zoning case? Any opponents? Seeing none, Commissioners, at this time I entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Is there a second? It's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, second by Commissioner McKnight, that we close the public hearing for case number 2019 V as in Victor -013-07. All in favor sound aye. All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now closed. Staff, would you please sound your recommendation?
Yes, Commissioner. Staff recommends approval of the 5-part variance to allow for a dynamic digital billboard with the following conditions. The applicant may only be approved for alternative 2, as stated in the letter of intent. The applicant may only digitize the sign facing the highway. Condition 3, the sign facing townhomes may only stay in the condition in which it currently exists. And condition 4, applicant must submit a fall zone plan with a method to mitigate for 11% reduction.
Commissioners, you've heard from the applicant. You've also heard staff's recommendation. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion
Yes, Commissioner Tucker.
to approve with staff recommendation 5 variance.
Okay, and is that with staff's conditions as stated? Is there a second? It's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Maxwell, that this body approve this five-part concurrent variance with conditions as stated by staff. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Hearing, yes. Commissioner Mitchell.
Has staff taken into consideration the alternative additional recommendations from the applicant?
So there was only one other alternative based off of this photograph. This was alternative 2, removing 2 of the billboards. The other alternative was to remove some billboards along Norman Berry Drive. So based off of the applicant's proposal to remove billboards, alternative 2 is what we went with.
Okay. As far as the allowing digital signage that face the townhomes, that's not a part of your conditional approval. Is that correct?
To answer,
It's not gonna sound like it's on, but apparently it's on by the AV team.
Okay.
okay.
Go ahead.
We just received the additional proposed recommendations from the applicant today, and we have not had the opportunity to consider them, to answer your question.
Based on this, and if the applicant would like, based on this, and if the applicant would like for these conditions to be considered, would you withdraw or postpone?
I think what we would like to do is proceed tonight. We can always come back and apply for the other side separately, because I think that would be an easier variance. We were originally scheduled last month, and so I think delaying another month would be a challenge for us, but I do appreciate the offer. And I guess the only question I had for staff was the 10% as we were proposing on the foundation. Is that addressing the 11%? That was the one question I didn't understand exactly what that condition meant. So if we bolster the foundation and the structure, would that address the mitigation requested? And if that's so, then I think we're fine.
Staff, would you like to respond to Mr. Peters?
If I might respond, I think if I'm understanding what you're saying, Mr. Peters, is that the condition of staff is that the applicant must submit a fall zone plan with a method to mitigate for 11% reduction. The alternative that you've proposed is that the reconstructed sign shall be designed and built by the applicant based upon a weight and wind load of 10% over the actual weight and wind load of the structure.
Correct.
If that's correct, then yes, it's my understanding from the city engineer that that would meet staff's, condition. So if you may want to have that fourth condition reworded to be the wording of your condition. Is that your request?
That would be the request, just to clarify that issue, to make sure that does address it. But if I'm hearing from the engineer that it does.
My understanding is that it does, and that staff would have no objection to having condition number 4 be substituted for that of the applicants on the second page that has the, actually, excuse me.
It's on the first page as well, on the bottom of the first page.
Yeah, on the first page where the single face upgrade, the condition number 4 should be that of the applicant. If somebody wants to offer that as a substitute motion.
Right.
Then you can amend it.
I'll list it. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. That's for the engineer to answer, and part of that is what they do in designing the foundation is they will go out and take borings of the soil to find out what the soil conditions are and then design that based upon what's out there. So
Mr. Peters, if you would stay at the podium, please. The recommendations that you worded here or that were presented to us this evening, did you word these yourself?
I did.
On behalf of the applicant?
Yes, I did.
And you're the applicant's attorney, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So my challenge is that our attorney just said that, and staff said that this is the first time that we're seeing these. And so the challenge that I have and the trouble that I have is that I would like for our attorney and our staff to have appropriate time to review any wording that is going to be sent to this commission asking us to adopt it without giving ample time for our attorney and our staff to review it. And so it's sort of kind of on the spot and we're doing committee work.
Understood. And if I can, on the
I'm not
issue
done
of-
yet.
I'm
So I would just say that if you could, in the future, if there's anything that you'd like for the body to consider, if we could just get it in advance so that
Sure.
we would have the opportunity to do our due diligence. If we're just getting it this evening at this meeting, we do not have that opportunity. And I have a
Understood,
little
and I certainly
trepidation about that.
understand and apologize on the timing. I will say on that one item, the 10%, that was discussed at both Planning Commission work sessions and was discussed with staff before. So I don't think that's coming as anything different. And I think the discussions at the Planning Commission work session regarding the alternative doing both faces and adding additional takedowns and modifying the angle of the sign were discussed. I understand your point, sir, and certainly would endeavor to get it earlier, but
I'm not going to beat a dead horse. It's one thing for us to discuss it, but clearly the city of East Point felt that the way that they worded the condition, they were more comfortable with it. So it could have been discussed at both of those work sessions, but this is what they presented this body to consider. And so I would just say that if these were the way you'd like to have them worded, then all of this should have been presented at the work session, so we would have had an opportunity to go over exactly how you worded it, and we would be able to talk through that, and it would not have been a surprise for us this evening. Okay?
understood.
Thank you. Commissioner Tucker, did you want to, okay. Okay. Is there,
In that case, I would like to add a friendly amendment to that based on our attorney's advice. Can you say it? I didn't write it down.
Well, it's not my advice, but you
Can, okay.
provide offer friendly amendment to condition stated as submitted by the applicant, the reconstructed sign shall be designed and built by the applicant based upon the grade and maintained 10% over the actual grade and maintained 10%.
Okay, that's my friendly amendment, and I'm doing that basically because it had been discussed in the previous two meetings and this evening that there was really no opposition from our attorneys about it. Okay, that's the reason.
okay. Mr. Maxwell, does your second still stand with the friendly amendment? I can't hear you, sir. Okay. There's a motion on the floor that we approve this variance, case number 2019 V as in Victor -013-07, with staff's recommendation and conditions as stated, and with condition number 4 as stated by Commissioner Mitchell. Yes. And it's been seconded by Commissioner Maxwell. Any comments, questions, or concerns? All in favor sound aye. All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. This body approves the variance. Thank you. Our next agenda item is 2019 U as in umbrella -006-08. Staff, would you please sound this agenda item?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The applicant, Ms. Markeisha Clark, is seeking a special use permit located at 2053 Neely Avenue to establish a habitable accessory structure within the R1 Single Family Residential Zoning District.
Commissioners, at this time, I entertain a motion to open the public hearing for case number 2019 U as in umbrella -006-08. Yes, Commissioner Milner? Is there a second? It's been moved by Commissioner Milner, seconded by Commissioner Lovett, that we open the public hearing for case number 2019 U as in umbrella -006-08. All in favor sound aye. Aye. All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now open. Ms. Clark, is that you?
Yes.
State your first and last name and your current address, please.
Yes, thank you. And thank you guys for being here tonight to listen to me. My name is Markeisha Clark, and I reside at 2053 Neely Avenue, East Point. I've lived there for about 11 years now. As you can see on this beautiful display here, that's my house. And on the back side of that area is a standalone garage that I like to convert into a living space. As I've shared with you guys the last session, nothing is really going to be done to the outside except for aesthetics. Most of the remodeling is going to be internal, and it's going to still have the same dimensions and everything. And yeah, I'm just here to hopefully receive the permission to move forward.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Are there any other proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning application? Any other proponents? Any other proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents here to speak against this zoning case? Any opponents? Seeing none, Commissioners, at this time I entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Is there a second? So moved by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by Commissioner McKnight, that we close the public hearing for case number 2019 U as an umbrella -006-08. All in favor sound aye. Aye. All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now closed. Staff, would you please sound your recommendation?
Staff recommends approval of the special use permit for a habitable accessory structure in the R1 Single Family Residential Zoning District.
Okay. Commissioners, we've heard from the applicant. We've also heard staff's recommendation. At this time, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I recommend.
Okay, is there a second? It's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Lovett, that this body recommends approval. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor sound aye. All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. This body recommends approval for your case, Ms. Clark. Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Our next agenda item is 2019 Z as in zebra -009-07 and 2019 V as in Victor, C as in Charles -015-08. Staff, would you please sound this agenda item?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The applicant, Mr. Kyle Dempsey, and Representative Brett Mutzelfeld is seeking a rezoning of two parcels from R1 to RT with a two-part concurrent variance for relief from Section 10-2069, subsection EE, and Section 10-2069, subsection EF, located at 0 Old Fairburn Road.
At this time, Commissioners, I entertain a motion to open the public hearing. Is there a second? Moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner McKnight, that we open the public hearing. All in favor sound aye. All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Public hearing is now open. Is our applicant present this evening? Okay, I don't see the applicant. Are there any proponents here to speak in favor of this zoning case? Any proponents? Don't see any proponents. Are there any opponents here to speak against this zoning case? Please go ahead and line up in threes at the podium and make sure staff has your comment card. Go ahead, please. Make sure staff has your comment. Have you signed a comment card?
I have.
Okay, go ahead, please. State your first and last name and your current address.
Okay. Yoshina Colbert Bradford, 1760 Loch Lomond Trail. My only concern with it is just knowing more information about why they would need it to be rezoned to townhomes. What would be the, I guess, the makeup of the neighborhood? What are the plans for it? All for affordable housing, all for more housing in our neighborhood, but I want to make sure that we have smart housing, things that will make sure they will complement the neighborhoods that we have and increase the value. And I know a lot of times we talk of affordable housing. I think we need to have more conversations about how we can make that look for our neighborhoods and other ways we can do that. But I would like to see, if we do have townhomes, maybe they can still increase the, I guess for me, the price point. I don't want it to be run down, and also require that they use the garage space so that we won't have more cars parked on the streetway, because that decreases the value in neighborhood. And maybe we can look at affordable housing in a way of maybe working with the lender or the builder to see if we can help the buyers buy down the interest rate so they can have a comfortable mortgage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, please step forward, state your first and last name and your current address.
Good evening. My name is Patricia Ramon, and I live at 3885 Old Fairburn Road, right up the street from where those signs are in that picture. My main concern is the traffic that those houses will, the families in those houses will create. As it is now, it takes me sometimes 10 minutes to get out of my driveway because of the traffic coming from Camp Creek and other streets. So that's one of the biggest problems that I have is the traffic that houses there would create.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Ramon. Our next speaker, please step forward, state your first and last name and your current address.
Good evening. I'm Gwendolyn Cox. I live on Old Fairburn Road. I'm glad to see development going in there. I just have a question about the development. And I don't mind townhouses, but it seems like nowadays people get a little piece of land and they want to get rich quick. So townhomes are the things to build nowadays. Well, I have a concern about townhomes, some that I have seen on our side of town. First of all, I don't know enough about this place to say, yes, I approve of this particular builder. I don't know the square footage of each of the houses. I don't know the storage space of each of the houses. And I don't know the driveway length of each of these apartment condos or whatever they are. And the reason I have those concerns is because when I drive through an area that has townhomes on the south side of town, usually there's not enough storage space inside. So therefore people use their garage for storage. And so they park their cars outside. The driveway is usually one car length. And then you have cars parked all on the street, and you have cars parked in the little bit of yard space they have. So if this is a luxury townhome project, I would like to have more information on it. I don't know if that's something that you can give me, but it is a very real concern of mine that this will turn into in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be it's not going to be a very good looking project. And so that is my concern.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Cox.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, please step forward, state your first and last name and your current address.
My name is Dama Stevenson. My address is 4820 Highland Lake Drive. It's part of the Highland Lake subdivision, which has access off of the Old Fairburn Road. And I have several concerns, and actually these concerns have been discussed in our homeowner association meeting that was held about a week ago, but these are my personal concerns as I am representing myself and not necessarily my homeowners association. One of the issues that we have is having townhouses built in a section of the city where it is single-family homes. We're concerned about what the impact on the value of our homes would be as a result of that. And notwithstanding some of the other comments that were made, we also are concerned about the additional traffic that will be created on Old Fairburn Road, because as you saw from a picture that was shown a little earlier, that is a very narrow two-lane road as a result of the increased building that has been done. There's a lot of traffic that goes up and down Old Fairburn Road, and also even though I know that I don't think that they're supposed to do this, but also tractor trailer trucks go up and down that road. and there are no bus stops on that road, so people are walking alongside of that road, and the traffic goes pretty fast downhill of the old Fairburn Road. And so I just think that from a safety perspective, that will cause concern as well, because the traffic is going to back up, there's going to be increased traffic, and there are going to be pedestrians that don't have a sidewalk to walk on to get to the bus stop, which is across Camp Creek Parkway. So those are the concerns that I have, and I think that me, along with some of my neighbors, don't feel that a townhouse community should retain the current zoning of single-family residential homes.
Thank you, Ms.
very much
Stevenson.
for giving me the time to express myself.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Stevenson. The next speaker, if you would please step forward, state your first and last name and your current address.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Gwen Harris, and I reside at 4625 Dunedin Drive. And I'm about 1/2 mile away from the location. And I have concerns because of the traffic hazard that I've envisioned being in that area. I understand that that would be the main entrance and exit for the townhomes, and I've already expressed this to the developer. The traffic hazard would be the northbound traffic on Old Fairburn Road would be on a steep, downward sloping hill. There's too much momentum for the traffic to really slow to be safe enough for traffic coming from the townhomes to enter Old Fairburn. Now, I know that the traffic engineers will do something to try to contain that, but there are already lots of accidents in that area now. And the southbound traffic are accelerating to make it up the hill. The hill is very, very steep, and we've witnessed lots of accidents there too, because people have to come in and out of their driveways on Old Fairburn Road. So I just wanted to add to what has already been said, that I am concerned about that. And of course, we want to be friendly neighbors, and because we are all in this boat together. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
You're welcome, Ms. Harris. Our next speaker, please step forward, state your first and last name and your current address.
Yes, Judine Hurd, 4000 Montego Bay Drive, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I want to piggyback what everyone has said. Let me state, I understand that it should not be emotional, rather facts, but factually, that community was primarily executive and luxury style homes. And to change the dynamics of that is truly changing that community. And to go to a price point of $200,000, that is encouraging rental properties. So that is my main concern there, is that we leave that particular community as it is. I would think that, is it Ward D, would also like some executive luxury homes in their community. And if I might state on record, we realize that there are not a lot of sales, so we cannot see the sales in that community. Everyone has been there for a while. But with that said, when people go to the lenders, they aren't going to do comparables based on homes 30 years old. So I just ask that you all deny it based on the fact it's not comparable to the community. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
You're welcome, Ms. Hurd. Thank you. Please state your first and last name, sir, and your current address.
Richard B. Allen, and I live at 3925 Wolf Creek Circle. I'm here as a part of the Old Fairburn Community Association. In our area, there are some 126 homeowners that have to use Old Fairburn Road. on behalf of myself and having talked to several homeowners in the immediate area, okay, we would oppose, okay, this petition, by Mr. Dempsey and his proposal to change the single-family zoning of the 6.9 acres from RT residential townhome to a residential townhome from single-family. The community as a whole is commensurate with single-family housing, okay, throughout. As neighbors and with the problematic issues surrounding the northern stretch of coming up Old Fairburn and also the southerly stretch of coming down to Camp Creek, we see many problems that can occur with such a development. But not only that, we have existing development going on in our community right now of some 300 plus homes in another side of the area, okay? And that compounded with 41 townhomes on 6.9 acres of land, okay? And with connectivity from the existing subdivisions that are there with these new developments that are right there impending upon us. And if this one gets approved, there'll be even more. So I see traffic, safety, environmental, pollution, okay, from all these cars. So we are adamantly opposing, the proposed development based on the fact that we are a single-family community. So I ask that you all seriously consider helping us out on this as a community and as neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Next speaker, please step forward, state your first and last name and your current address.
Good evening. My name is Karen Ashley, and I reside at 4640 Dunedin Drive, which is about a half a mile up from the proposed site of the townhomes. I 100% oppose the building of the townhomes. I don't care if they cost $1 million, because what is most concerning to me, I'm a 28-year resident there, is my quality of life. Unfortunately, that part of Old Fairburn where I live, it's sandwiched between three principalities. And it feels as though we are just being crushed because each principality wants to do something different. Well within your rights, I understand. But we have the city of East Point as you come into, turn on from Camp Creek Parkway, and we have we have two large subdivisions right there at the corner almost. And then with this proposed project, not less than a mile up, then you couple that with, after you pass 9th Street, we turn into College Park, their building. You go a little stretch down, you have Union City, who has used their property as warehousing. So we have trucks that we're contending with. We have all these new homes we're contending with, and what has come, and I have seen our community, especially that stretch of land, which was just beautiful with the trees and the landscape, is littered with trash, because you have the more people that you bring in, they come up, they throw their trash out of their cars. You send an increase in traffic. It takes you 10 or 15 minutes to get out of your street. And as I age, and as my community age, which it is built mostly of residents who have been there 30 or some odd years, you don't want to continuously come to meeting after meeting trying to fight that building on a small stretch of land where the infrastructure does not support it. You just don't want to do it, and we find ourselves having to do that more often You know, we're fighting group homes because someone wants to turn their property just a little, maybe a driveway up from that. We were just a couple of months fighting a group home who wanted to expand. We're constantly fighting building on that stretch of land. So I ask you, please, 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 deny this. Whether it's 41 townhomes or 2, I just oppose it. The road can't take any more people on it, period. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ashley. Are there any other opponents here to speak against this zoning case? Any other opponents? Seeing none, Commissioners, at this time I entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Is there a second? It's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Lovett, that we close the public hearing for case number 2019 Z as in Zebra -009-07 and case number 2019 V as in Victor C as in Charles -015-08. All in favor sound aye.
Aye.
All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now closed. Staff, would you please sound your recommendation?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Staff recommends approval of rezoning the properties from R1 to RT with the following conditions. The applicant must submit an HOA covenant. The applicant may only build a maximum of the proposed 41 townhomes. The applicant must ensure that building elevations vary in style and design composed of brick, stone, or cementous siding. Condition 4, no 2 townhomes may have the same materials on facade next to each other. Condition 5, townhomes must have 35% to 40% transparency. Condition 6, provide staggering patterns of townhomes. Condition 7, ensure corner units are brick. Condition 8, provide noise mitigation details per noise study results. And Condition 9, City of East Point Planning and Community Development will maintain architectural oversight of development. Furthermore, due to the steep topography and lot restrictions, staff recommends approval of the 2-part concurrent variance to reduce the minimum lot width from 30 feet to 24 feet, and to reduce the lot size from 3,000 square feet to 2,000 square feet.
Yes.
Hi. I'd just like to state for the record that the applicant did on September 17th request a deferral of the application, and staff is not opposed to that.
Okay. Is that microphone on, Mike?
Hello?
It doesn't sound like it's on. Oh, it is.
Testing.
Okay.
Hi.
Could you please repeat that?
Yes, my name is Kimberly Smith, Planning Director for Planning and Community Development. I'd like to state for the record that the applicant requested a deferral on September 17th, and the staff is not in opposition to that. We're not opposed for a deferral.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Staff is not opposed to a deferral. The applicant has requested a deferral. Is it for a time certain?
There was no time indicated,
Okay.
and the purpose of it was for sewer connection issues that have come up.
Okay. This body was at a time certain. So the applicant has requested a deferral. And so that was on the 17th of this month?
September,
Just
yes.
2 days ago?
Yes.
Okay, that's what she was stating. And she said that the staff is not opposed to the deferral, is what she was stating. Okay, does everyone understand that? No.
They would like to put the case on hold for the time being until some concerns and issues are ironed out between several of the departments within the city.
Right. Yes, but we won't go back and forth because the public hearing is now closed. So in a nutshell, the applicant, who is not present this evening, has reached out to the staff to state that they are requesting a deferral. And so the staff is simply stating that that is where the status of the applicant's decision for the application at the moment, and this body will consider that. Okay. The public hearing is now closed. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Okay, Commissioners, you've heard from those who are opposed to the zoning application. You've also heard staff's recommendation. At this time, I entertain a motion.
Motion.
Okay, is there a second? It's been moved by Commissioner Milner, seconded by Commissioner Lovett, that this body, is there a time certain for that, Mr. Milner? next regular scheduled meeting.
Next regularly scheduled meeting.
And Commissioner Lovett, does your second still stand? Okay, there's a motion on the floor to defer to our next regularly scheduled meeting, made by Commissioner Milner, seconded by Commissioner Lovett. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor sound aye. All opposed sound nay. The ayes have it. This body has deferred this item to our next regularly scheduled meeting. And before I go to the next agenda item, I would like to say this. So this has been advertised for a public hearing tonight. So we won't advertise it for a public hearing again, but this body may allow for there to be other comments at the regular scheduled meeting. But it's already been advertised, and we held a public hearing tonight, okay? So we would address that at our regular scheduled meeting, okay? The regular scheduled meetings are the third Thursdays of each month at 7 p.m. And tonight is a bit of an outlier because we're not usually in the annex. It will probably revert back to the East Point City Hall, okay? Third Thursday, 7 p.m.
That'll be October 17th.
October 17th. All right? Thank you. Our next agenda item is case number 2019 M as in Mary -006-08. Staff, would you please sound this agenda item?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The applicant seeks a text amendment to add definitions that pertain to short-term rentals to Section 10-2003, as well as add such uses as permitted uses to applicable zoning districts.
Commissioners, at this time, I'd open up a public hearing for case number 2019 M as in Mary -006-08. Is there a second? It's been moved by Commissioner Tucker, seconded by Commissioner Miller, that we open the public hearing for this agenda item. All in favor sound aye. All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. The public hearing is now open. The applicant is the city of East Point, so I'm assuming, Kim, you're going to present this?
Yes.
Okay.
Case number 2019M006-08, City of East Point, citywide all wards. The applicant seeks a text amendment to add definitions that pertain to short-term rentals to Section 10-2003, as well as add such uses as permitted uses to applicable zoning districts. And I also want to state for the record that this is for discussion and comment by this board. The mayor and council have been working for some time now, starting back from February of this year with the short-term rental forums. They've recently had a short-term rental work session a month ago. And so they've come up with items, or with the outline rather, for a short-term rental ordinance on behalf of the city of East Point. And some of the terms and definitions in that draft ordinance that they have is two terms: homestay lodging and whole house lodging. And in the work session, we received your comments and everything like that, and we've taken those into account. Mayor and council have also had ongoing ward work sessions and community meetings amongst each different ward, and it's really just to gain everyone's input. It's for transparency, and it's to address really a nationwide issue. And at this point, it's really for comments, suggestions, concerns to be given to them at this time. So not for recommendation this evening. The mayor and council, they're still in discussions, they're still getting input from the community, from you all, and they want to make sure that all bodies are included in this very, very important discussion on short-term rentals.
Based upon Ms. Smith's representation that this is purely for discussion, staff feels it would be inappropriate to make a recommendation at this time.
mean, what are we doing?
I would like to make a...
Well, that's a good question.
Let me just wrap it up. If the attorney feels that it's inappropriate to give...
I completely agree.
Moved by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Milner, that we adjourn. All in favor sound aye. All opposed sound nay. Here none, the ayes have it. This meeting is adjourned.